You know, Matt Taibbi wrote a book called Hate Inc. I don't know if you ever read it. He basically makes the argument that Rachel Maddow is essentially Bill O'Reilly, that they're the same person.
The U.S. government is going to have to either unwind from all of those contracts, or Elon Musk's companies are going to have to unwind from him. This is an untenable reality in national security terms, now that we know what we know about Elon Musk.
And what is that? What do we know?
That he endorsed President Trump.
That he's a genius?
They're very good at making enemies, and then when the enemies they've made treat them poorly, they are shocked.
Ever wondered what happens when Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly join forces to take down Rachel Maddow? Spoiler, chaos, hard truths, and more than a few. Did she seriously just say that? Moments. This isn't just a roast, it's a collision of raw podcasts, energy, and sharp political critique. Maddow never saw it coming, and you won't either. Get ready. This is one showdown you won't forget.
Fallout from Joy Reid's firing at MSNBC continues. She signed off from the show for the last time last night. I mean, you know, we are going to miss her in our own special way. And her now former colleague, Rachel Maddow, never one to not be the center of attention if she can find a way of injecting herself into a story, decided to deliver a monologue aimed directly at her bosses. And this is the theme of what
this saga plays out like a political cage match. No gloves, no rules. And guess who's taking the hits? Rachel Maddow. You know the type. Self-appointed queen of cable news drama, headset on. Surrounded by 1,000 PowerPoint slides, and a talent for turning the smallest political hiccup into a full-blown crisis.
Rachel Maddow calling for Elon Musk contracts to be taken away. It's the most bananas thing ever.
The Defense Department and NASA are going to need a new arrangement for all their rockets and for all the multi-billion-dollar contracts Elon Musk's companies have with the U.S. government.
Yeah. Literally one of the greatest geniuses in human history. A guy who's simultaneously landing rockets, not just shooting them, but landing them, having them getting caught by robots in the sky. Then you have Tesla, then you have Starlink, then you have the Boring Company. I mean, the guy's simultaneously running all these different things.
I bet Rachel Maddow's...
But this time, the tidal wave crashing into Rachel Maddow's carefully constructed MSNBC fortress didn't come from another talking head or a snarky late-night panel. No, this hit came from an unexpected tag team. Joe Rogan's unpredictable podcast jungle and Megyn Kelly's razor-sharp media courtroom.
Bad. No matter who replaces them. That feels indefensible, and I do not defend it.
And I do not defend it. It feels indefensible, and I do not defend it. Okay, she really is one of the most, maybe, is she the most annoying people on television. She oozes sanctimony and self-righteousness. And here's the real capper. She took her boss's faces and rubbed them in shit last night.
Let's start with Joe Rogan, the guy whose podcast feels more like a backyard barbecue where everyone's welcome. But be warned, sometimes the truth gets served hotter than a Texas BBQ pit. Rogan isn't your typical news anchor. He's a blend of everyman curiosity, relentless questioning, and the stamina of a marathon runner. When he locks onto a story, it's like Sherlock Holmes catching the scent of smoke only to uncover that someone torched the whole town.
For whatever reason, hardcore lesbians, when they want to be taken seriously, they dress like a man. And they dress like a man in a business outfit.
Okay.
Look how she dresses. She puts a suit jacket on. I'm serious. I'm here for the meeting. I'm here to explain things to you people.
Rachel Maddow gets paid $100,000 a day. Like, to me, I don't know. That's a lot of money.
Good for her.
That's a good...
You buy a lot of...
As for Maddow's recent reporting, and that's being generous, it felt more like narrative weaving with occasional detours around the facts. She dropped some spicy claims that got the political commentariat buzzing, delivered with her usual flair for turning the mundane into a doomsday warning. And who better to throw a reality check than Rogan? His version of pull up a chair comes with a heavy dose of brutal skepticism. Watching him dismantle Maddow's overblown scenarios was like seeing a sledgehammer taken to a glass house, piece by piece, with his signature mix of bemused disbelief and deadpan delivery. He let the facts speak for themselves. No need to shout, just a calm, steady, "You sure about that?" One standout moment came when Rogan targeted Maddow's favorite dramatic clam, the kind that feels born out of a conspiracy-fueled fever dream. He didn't just challenge it. He obliterated it by pulling real data and placing it against her. Wildfire rhetoric. It wasn't just a takedown, it was a masterclass in here's what actually happened. For anyone still entranced by the usual cable news suspense soundtrack,
Maddow trying to say what pains us the most is not what happens to us is a lie too. The reason she won't give the $4 million or the $2 million to save any of those jobs, and she doesn't have to cut him a check. She could actually just take it out of her current salary. You know why she won't? Because she's got bills to pay and her lifestyle is too important to her. Rachel Maddow currently, according to my calculation, and I'm sure it's much more, has a $10 million penthouse, I say, on the Upper East Side, where her neighbors are Jodie Foster and Barry Manilow.
But it wasn't just the facts, it was the vibe. Rogan, with his laid-back charm and I'm just a guy asking questions energy, made the whole thing feel like he was casually inviting Maddow to the cool kids table, only to gently tell her, sorry, you're not on the list. No yelling, no cheap shots, just a steady, relentless unmasking that peeled away her dramatic flair until all that was left was a hollow shell of grandstanding. If Rogan was the big friendly giant swinging a truth hammer, Megyn Kelly was the hawk, circling high above, waiting to strike with surgical precision. Her background in law and primetime news gave her a different kind of edge, the power to unravel a seemingly confident claim with quiet, devastating focus. While Rogan hit hard and broad, Kelly zeroed in on the small but critical cracks, the ones that whispered spin or intentional misdirection. Where Rogan exposed Maddow's theatrics with blunt force, Kelly dissected her narrative with calm, clinical precision. She didn't need fireworks. She simply laid out the evidence like a forensic expert, while others were still fumbling with the clues. Her sharp critique spotlighted the subtle ways Maddow blurred the lines between commentary and journalism, twisting facts, dodging context, and dressing opinion up as news.
What did Rachel Maddow ever apologize for telling everybody that if you get the COVID vaccine, you're never going to get COVID? It won't. The virus stops with you.
No, never.
Never.
Yeah.
No one ever. It's just, it was not true at the time. There was no evidence to support it at the time. It's pure propaganda. And she said it. The Russiagate hoax. For 3 fucking years, they said that he was Putin's toy.
Yes.
And that Putin had him compromised. The Steele dossier.
Steele dossier was completely fabricated by a lawyer at Perkins Coie, who was paid by the Clinton campaign.
Kelly's approach was a masterclass in dismantling someone's credibility with a smile. She took Maddow's breathless proclamations and exposed what they conveniently left out, the context skipped. The lines blurred, the facts twisted. One standout moment was Kelly's highlight reel of Maddow's worst offenses. Leaps from solid reporting into straight-up speculation. She didn't need to yell. Her calm, confident delivery made it even more effective, as if to say, you don't need to raise your voice when the facts are this loud. It wasn't just that Maddow stretched the truth, according to Kelly. She was doing an Olympic-level yoga routine with it. Every precise cut Kelly made left Maddow's carefully constructed story looking like a house of cards balanced on quicksand. And that's what made Kelly's takedown sting. The implied challenge. If Maddow's journalism were a courtroom case, would it survive cross-examination? Under Kelly's scrutiny, the answer was a definitive no. Maddow's dramatic storytelling crumbled under the weight of journalistic ethics and legal logic. Kelly's message was clear. Spinning a story into a thriller doesn't make it true or responsive.
Caitlyn Jenner teasing Mark Cuban about transitioning.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I mean, Caitlyn Jenner's based.
Yeah, but that is actually hilarious when someone who has transitioned is teasing Mark Cuban about transitioning.
I mean, it is weird how much he looks like Rachel Maddow. I mean, like he's using the same glasses. Did he,
I don't know why
did he go
he put those
klepto and
glasses
steal her glasses or something? Because they look exactly the same.
He's worth a lot of money. Why would he buy those stupid glasses? You can get some cool ass
unflattering.
glasses. Yeah. Well, it's like I'm serious because I don't even care what I look like. I'm just wearing these glasses because I'm intelligent.
But why do they look exactly like Rachel Maddow's glasses?
Yeah, it's like what they probably sent him. He doesn't stick to the narrative. Here's a glass.
Individually, Rogan and Kelly were formidable, but together, they were a perfect storm. Rogan's relentless fact-checking, powered by his unfiltered conversational style, collided with Kelly's composed surgical takedown to create a 1-2 punch Maddow's usual defenses weren't ready for. Picture them not as separate media forces, but as a tag team in the chaotic arena of political commentary, tearing into Maddow's fragile house of spin. And the beauty wasn't just that they both came for her, it was how differently they did it, like two chefs cooking the same dish with wildly different ingredients. The end result still hit hard. Rogan, with his everyman vibe, came in like the guy who crashes your party and casually asks, "Why are you selling snake oil?" and calling it journalism. He didn't need polish or political correctness. His weapon was raw, grounded honesty, wrapped in that unmistakable "are you serious?" tone. There's something undeniably disarming about a guy who can talk about elk hunting and space-time theories, then turn around and slice through political spin like it's his day job. He's not here to play nice. He's here to call BS. And when Maddow's theatrical narratives met that kind of unpretentious scrutiny, they didn't just wobble, they collapsed.
Also learn a lot if you watch MSNBC. I don't know if you're aware, but their reaction, you're not gonna be able to believe this, to the Friday Oval Office situation was to claim that Trump is weirdly and problematically tied to Russia. I'll give you just a little taste of Rachel Maddow's monologue on it last night.
Imagine if a foreign adversary, imagine if the Putin government somehow could just do a thought experiment. Imagine they could somehow exert control or influence over the government of the United States. What do you think the Putin government would have the U.S. government do if he could control it? What kind of headlines would you expect to see about the operations of our government under that kind of a scenario? And what would you expect the news out of the Oval Office and the White House to look like on a day like today?
Fake.
Megyn Kelly, in contrast to Rogan's laid-back bulldozer style, is all precision and restraint, and that's exactly where the magic happens. While Rogan crashes through the noise with raw force, Kelly steps onto the same battlefield with a scalpel, carefully dissecting the theatrics to reveal the bones of journalistic malpractice beneath. Her method is methodical, almost surgical. Watching her break down Maddow's claims is like witnessing a courtroom drama unfold in slow motion. Every word Maddow utters is examined not just for accuracy, but for intent. Kelly doesn't simply say, "This is wrong." She calmly, intelligently lays out why it's wrong, why it matters, and how it betrays the public trust that journalism depends on. Her delivery measured, composed, deliberate, feels like a chess grandmaster dismantling a cocky novice, one quiet move at a time. And when these two forces, Rogan's conversational wrecking ball and Kelly's legal scalpel, collide with the same target, it's a masterclass in media accountability. Rogan blasts through the noise, exposing glaring inaccuracies, then Kelly follows, peeling back the layers of spin to show that Maddow's narrative isn't just factually flimsy, it's deliberately constructed to provoke, mislead, and guide viewers toward a specific emotional and ideological conclusion.
Rachel Maddow, with her typical sanctimonious, I'm sorry to have to bring you this, but here's the latest of these terrible people. This is what happened with these disgusting opponents. Watch. Here she is.
This is him today twice throwing something that looks like what is politely called the Roman salute. And maybe this is not what he meant when he did it. Who among us knows what is in the hearts of men? But the Roman salute is a thing. And that is what it looks like Elon Musk was doing, which added a nice blood-curdling chill to the day for many people today. He does it twice. And again, maybe that's not what he meant. Maybe he doesn't know what that is. That happened today.
That happened today. Who among us knows what's in the hearts of men? Who among us?
One moment in particular sticks out. Rogan casually highlights a glaring inconsistency in Maddow's timeline, a classic wait that doesn't add up moment. But rather than move on, Kelly swoops in and explains exactly why that inconsistency isn't just sloppy reporting. It's part of a calculated strategy to manufacture outrage and keep viewers emotionally engaged. It's a devastating tag team. Rogan pokes holes in the facts. Kelly fills those holes with a damning critique of journalistic ethics. Together, they deliver a 1-2 punch that leaves Maddow's credibility wobbling. And the result? She looked like someone trying to run a marathon on roller skates and ice, off balance, out of her depth, and destined to crash. No amount of dramatic delivery or slick production could save her. Once Rogan and Kelly started attacking her story from two different angles but with the same intent to expose the truth, behind the theater her carefully crafted narrative began to implode. The fallout was swift and explosive. Social media lit up like the 4th of July. Clips of Rogan's disbelief and Kelly's surgical takedowns circulated at warp speed. Memes exploded, hashtags trended, armchair media analysts grabbed their keyboards like pitchforks, eager to weigh in.
That was a disgusting display by both women on the set. I would vote for Ron DeSantis over Joe Biden any day of the week. I've made that clear, okay? I tell you what my bias is. When I sat across from Ron DeSantis, I pressed him. I pressed him on the weaknesses in his arguments, things that he said that were inconsistent, positions he had that would fall apart potentially if you really, drilled down, and he stood his own. That's what a journalist does. That's what your obligation is as a member of the media. You failed, Rachel Maddow. You failed. I don't care how much they give you, $30 million a year. You're not worth 30 cents. That was an embarrassment. You fell down on the job, you embarrassed yourself and your network, and you ceded the entire discussion to a dishonest broker who set us down this disgusting path that we're now on, where everybody denies everybody's the real president. Shame.
Meanwhile, Maddow radio silence. Not a tweet, not a rebuttal. Not even one of her trademark raised eyebrows, just ... nothing. The kind of silence that says I got caught with my hand in the cookie jar and I'm hoping everyone moves on. But silence can speak volumes. In this case, it's a stark reminder of the fine line between commentary and manipulation, and when a public figure crosses that line, the consequences go beyond bruised egos. It's about trust, the most fragile currency in journalism. Now her audience faces a choice: double down and defend her by dismissing Rogan and Kelly as partisan attackers, or pause and ask the hard question, have I been misled? For the average viewer, this wasn't just a dramatic media moment. It was a wake-up call. It reminded us that consuming the news can't be passive. It requires critical thinking, a skeptical eye, and the willingness to question even our favorite voices. If a guy like Rogan, armed with facts and a mic, and a seasoned media pro like Kelly can unravel one of the biggest names in cable news, what else might be hiding behind the curtain? So what happens now? Will Maddow change her tactics? Soften the dramatics? Maybe pivot to more grounded reporting? Or will she double down, betting that the storm will pass and the loyal viewers will return? The media world waits, popcorn in hand. Because if history has taught us anything, these moments either humble or harden. And sometimes, they do both.
Russia.
Would have been nice to win the election. Didn't. Okay. Time to save the country.
She is stomach turning, isn't she? It could be, you're in danger. What are you going to do with your 10 houses and your tens of millions? My God, you better start preparing. You should start getting the medication kits and the food right now. Store away. Trump is coming for you, Rachel. Jeez, could be fun. Could be fun. Oh, yeah. Who would ever know what it's like for MSNBC to be in the opposition? Oh, wait. Russia. We know your trick, Madam Pirate. When you're in the opposition, your nobility in your efforts to save the country, you fucking lie. That's what you do. You lie every day. And then you play the victim. What a ridiculous person.
This wasn't just entertainment, it was a wake-up call. A reminder that we, as viewers, need to raise the bar on what we accept as news. It's time to question the storytellers, challenge the narratives, and demand accountability from those who speak into powerful microphones. When Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly, two people from completely different corners of the media world, accidentally team up to take down a network titan like Maddow, it's more than a takedown, it's a signal, a sign that media accountability is no longer confined to press rooms and official watchdogs. In the digital age, it's just as likely to come from a podcast studio or a YouTube clip gone viral. The synergy was unplanned but devastating. Rogan made the misinformation digestible, broadcasting it to his massive, everyday audience. Kelly gave the critique structure and weight, elevating it from outrage to indictment. It was like a 1-2 punch in a heavyweight match. Rogan lands the jab, Kelly delivers the knockout, and the queen of controlling the narrative. She suddenly looked uncharacteristically silent. No counterpunch. No clarification. No spin. Just the sound of a carefully constructed media empire trembling. The aftermath lit social media on fire. Memes exploded. Clips went viral. Viewers, some shocked, others vindicated, asked the same question. Did the unshakable just get shaken?
And no one, even someone calling herself a journalist, will even bother to challenge you on it. And instead, they'll joke about how they're going to go shop for a new wardrobe, which, by the way, Rachel Maddow does.
Rogan and Kelly's unexpected alliance proved something bigger. Media accountability has broken out of the traditional newsroom. It no longer belongs only to legacy outlets or press conferences. Now it lives in podcasts, independent commentary, and unfiltered conversations between people who aren't afraid to ask, wait, is that actually true? This wasn't just a critique, it was a blueprint. A lesson in not accepting every headline, every dramatic pause, every emotionally charged monologue at face value. Because if a podcast king and a media courtroom queen can pull back the curtain, maybe it's time we all take a closer look at the show. What happens next? Will Maddow recalibrate? Will she double down on the dramatics or quietly retreat into her usual echo chamber of polished punditry? Time will tell. But one thing is clear. This clash has changed the game. It's rewritten the rules about who gets to hold the mic in America's messy, unpredictable media circus. And for those still asking how two media personalities from completely different worlds could so effortlessly dismantle one of cable's most polished voices, remember this. Sometimes it takes a podcast heavyweight and a primetime precisionist to reveal that the Emperor's new clothes were never there to begin with. The real lesson: don't mess with Joe Rogan's facts or Megyn Kelly's logic, because when those two collide, even the loudest voices can get silenced by the truth. And this story, it's not over. Not even close.